We got some major storylines to break down today. Kyler Gordon could be done for the season as Ben Johnson has a raw reaction when he's asked if Kyler Gordon will make a return. We're talking about the Green Bay Packers showdown and Ben Johnson's takeaways from that game. And Caleb Williams reveals exactly what he needs to do to tighten up for the Chicago Bears playoff push. We got injury updates, playoff implications, and everything you need to know heading into this week's matchup. We'll talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into the content for today, y'all. We're talking about injury news, injury updates, the injury report, all that type of stuff, but I want to start off with this. Ben Johnson, who addressed the media on Wednesday before practice, asked about Kyler Gordon and if Kyler Gordon could return this season if there was some doubt around that. He said this: "It's to be determined. I haven't heard over the last couple of days the extent of the injury, but coming out of that one, it didn't look very good." Now, Kyler Gordon is one of the best nickel cornerbacks in the entire NFL, right? And while he has missed some time over his NFL career, make no mistake about it, this is the first year where Kyler Gordon really has missed double-digit games, right? He's only played 3 games the entirety of the season. Even if he's able to fit to play in every one of the Bears' last 4 games, that means he's only going to play 7 games this season. Now, I do think there's been a little bit of overreaction from some Bears fans. You have Bears fans recently that leave comments like, well, Kyler Gordon's never available. And it's like Kyler Gordon has played in well over 80% of his available games, before this season, right? And so, but no doubt that in a season where the Bears are trying to make a playoff push, where, Kyler Gordon was expected to be a big part of Dennis Allen's scheming and game plan and all that type of stuff, there's no doubt that there's some disappointment. He signed his deal, all that type of stuff. There's reason to be disappointed. But for some people, and we had a voicemail on it not too long ago to say like, oh, well, let's get rid of Kyler. Kyler Gordon is 25 years old. He missed 2 games last season, 4 the season before that, 3 the season before that. Listen, I don't know in what world y'all live in, but for physical NFL players, you're like missing 2 to 3 games a season. It's not like it's at the point where it's like, oh my God, you're missing so many games, we got to get rid of you. But at the same time, this season, with the soft tissue injury specifically, and the way that he hasn't really ever been able to fully get back in gear, I don't know if people understand the nature of soft tissue injuries. Those, you just need time. It really just comes down to time for those to heal up. And unfortunately, with Kyler trying to get back out on the football field, those things can be re-aggravated pretty easily. And Ben Johnson talked about that a little bit as well. I'm not in the space where I think we need to get rid of Kyler Gordon because he had a major injury season like this year. The seasons before then, missing a couple of games here and there, I'm not going to hold that against a player. That's just my personal thing. This is a contact sport. It's major. I'm not going to hold that. But some Bears fans have just ridiculous things. They say like, oh, he's never played back-to-back games. Like, are you stupid? Are you dumb? Now, this season has been much different for that. And like I said, I can't act like I don't understand the frustration around it because Dennis Allen, he talked glowingly about Kyler Gordon, how he can, scheme and use Kyler Gordon before the season started, and we just haven't been able to get that done. And now hearing there's some doubt on if he's going to be able to return this season, it's concerning. Make no mistake about it. But I don't think that he has the type of injuries that if he, in the offseason of being able to heal up, I think he'll be perfectly fine, right? Kyler is too dynamic, too good for us to just let a player like that go because he had a major injury season, right? But I think overall, when you look at it, the Bears still have a lot in that secondary. Jalen Johnson, who also returned from injury, hasn't been 100% himself quite yet. Of course, the hope is that as we get closer and closer to the playoffs and he ramps up, he's going to get closer to that version of himself that we're going to need there. But having Deshaun Wright, having C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Tyrique Stevenson makes his return, we still got a lot in that secondary. The play of Jaquan Brisker and Kevin Byard, we still got a lot there, right? But there's no doubt about it that it just opens up so much schematically for Dennis Allen if Kyler Gordon's able to get back out there on the field sooner rather than later. And we'll just see what happens with that. But at 25 years old, like I said, one of the best at his position in both coverage, blitzing, run support, all those type of things. He's too dynamic of a weapon to let go right now. And I think that is a little bit ridiculous. And here's the thing. I'll say this. I know that as fans, and I always say fans have a different brain than what front offices need to, right? Fans can get frustrated. Some do, let's just get rid of him. And not realize, like, yeah, but you're not going to really replace him with somebody better than him at what he specifically does and in that scheme. And it is it's an investment. They made an investment in Kyler Gordon. The return on investment so far this year has undoubtedly been a little bit disappointing, right? He signed a 3-year extension worth $31 million, and he played only 3 games in 2025, right? Hamstring injury, which left him out the first 4 games. Then he returned for a couple of games. Then he had a groin injury and calf injuries that kept him sidelined. Now he's re-aggravated the groin injury. So there's things there. And I do think C.J. Gardner-Johnson is ready to step in, but I do think we saw, for example, against the Packers, we saw a little bit of that be exposed, right? Like he didn't deal with the quicker and faster wide receivers like he used to, which is something, right? So, he had a rougher game in coverage than I think people realize. But overall, like, we'll see what's going to happen here. I still feel confident in what the Bears have in that secondary, and we're just going to see how it comes out, right? With that said, though, let's talk about the injury report overall for the Chicago Bears. It's probably one of the best injury reports we've had for a while. Only 2 players did not participate in practice. It's Kyler Gordon, and that's Travis Homer. That's it. Other than that, Rome Odunze was a limited participant in practice, as was Tyrique Stevenson and Olamide Zaccheaus. All 3 of those guys were limited participants. And like I've said before, on Wednesday, if you're limited on Wednesday, if by Thursday, Friday-ish you become a full participant, it's a pretty good sign you're going to be able to play on Sunday. I think we do need Rome Odunze out there. I know we have a deep wide receiver room, but with Olamide also somebody who's on the injury report as well, I just think we need those guys. With Kyler probably going to miss this game unless something drastically does happen. You need Tyrique Stevenson out there as well. I think you want that for the depth and the way that the waves of corners and secondary players Dennis Allen likes to have out there. And then Ruben Hippolyte was a full participant, which I think is still really good, especially with Tremaine Edmonds on IR. And then Jalen Johnson also was a full participant with his own groin injury. So things are looking pretty good as far as the Bears injury report, and that's an important one. I know this game against the Browns, it's not shaped up on paper to be the most difficult game for the Chicago Bears, but it is a game that you're going to need to play pretty goddamn well in, right? We need this win against the Bears. And it's supposed to be a cold, it may even be snowing at Soldier Field when we take the field for that game. That's a Chicago Bears game. That means we're going to need our run game going. We're going to need all of that. Every win now is important. And like I've said, 9 wins is not enough. 9 wins is not enough to secure yourself a playoff spot. It's just not. And so the Bears are going to have to continue. Like I said, if you can win 3 out of these last 4, you pretty much guarantee yourself a spot in the postseason, right? You win 2 out of these next 4, you can still get it done, but you're going to need a little bit of help. So we got to take the field against the Browns. Whoever's out there, we need full and utter support and being locked in, because this is an important game for the Chicago Bears, as every game is now over the last stretch. And I've said it before, I'm now judging this team by the standards of a playoff team. That's how I'm looking at this. This is now, we are this close. And because we're this close, is that me being a little bit of a homer and fan? Absolutely it is. But I don't care about all that. Like I said, I put my fan hat down sometimes, and I come in here with objective analysis and stuff like that, but we're this close to the playoffs. You know that in the years that we've had this show, we've never made it to the playoffs. We've never had a double-digit win season. We haven't. We've never had a winning season. We just secured our first winning season a couple of weeks ago, right? So it's you're damn right, as a Bears fan, I want us to lock in and do what's needed to make the goddamn playoffs. You're absolutely right, because that's what this franchise deserves. That's what the fan base deserves. We have rocked too hard with this team and supported this team too hard. And I'm not talking about us here as we as Chicago Bears Central. I'm talking about we as Bears fans. Even the guys, the Bajan baddies, even the guys that hate everything about Caleb Williams, we all still deserve to see our team get into the playoffs and fight, compete, and get in that spot. And let's see what the Bears are going to do with that, right? So 9 wins is not enough. And that's something that Ben Johnson has echoed. That's something that he's stated. And that's something that I believe in as well. We ain't accomplished nothing. And I know that got some people in their feelings the last time I said that. The Bears haven't accomplished shit. And I want to be clear, even by getting into the playoffs, that doesn't necessarily mean you accomplished anything. You won some football games. You proved some things. You won some stuff on the field. But true accomplishment, I feel like, comes with playoff success. And I'm not putting it on this team that they need to be in the Super Bowl or anything this year, even in the NFC title game. But you need to be out here and compete. You need to make the playoffs. You are this close to making the playoffs. And it's still a really good and such an improvement, even if somehow we don't. But the Bears need to lock in here. We need to get this shit done, and we need to lock in, and let's see what we're going to do. Before that, the Bears' last game was a loss, of course, against the dreaded Green Bay Packers. And Ben Johnson talked a little bit about his first game in this Bears and Packers rivalry. We know he's played in this division and coached in this division for a long time, but he said this. Yeah, I think just in terms of playing at Lambeau, this is my 7th year in the division. I do think there is some aura that comes with playing here and competing here. I love it for our guys. This is what the football gods made football to be. Cold weather in December like this in Green Bay, Chicago, I think it's outstanding. I think it's awesome to have the rivalry alive and well right now, and we get another chance at it here in 2 weeks. And that's great. That's a great mindset to have. You get another chance at it. Matt LaFleur got the best of the Chicago Bears, and part of it came down to the Bears not having that early success in the first quarter. I know there were some mistakes down it as well, but I think if the Bears just had and put up like on the 3 drives, the Bears defense got stops. The Bears just put up 1 touchdown in that. The Bears win that game, or at least tie that game, right? So it comes down to those type of things. It is what it is, right? I mean, you win some, you lose some. But this Bears thing and with the Packers, it has a chance to be back to an actual rivalry. But the Bears got to get in here. They got to tighten up. But you can't overlook that. I get it. The Packers, we play them again in 2 weeks. We got this game coming up against the Browns, and it is what it is. And I know that a lot of people have used Ben Johnson's words of he enjoyed beating Matt LaFleur, 2 times a year when he was in Detroit. But now it's different. You are now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. You are now the head coach of a team that's trying to dig itself out of the absolute hole and doldrums that we've been in over the last handful of years. But Ben Johnson has the right mindset. And I love hearing about what Ben Johnson, just hearing him talk football, talk about what he and how he views this team and these players. He is that leader of men, that guy that we talked about, that this team needed it. He's been there, right? But for what it's worth, Ben Johnson told the media on yesterday this week is equally important. We desperately need this win. Ben Johnson is all business. When I say things like 9 wins isn't enough, that's because of things like what Ben Johnson says, right? So when you look at even the fact of the Bears winning 10 games, go and look at how people viewed this team coming into the season with the rookie head coach, Caleb Williams coming off that, all of the type of stuff, right? The Bears are looking at a legit chance to become, to go in as a wild card, or they can come out and still try to win the NFC North. And that would be huge for this team to be able to do this. Ben Johnson continues to say this. We have goals and we know what's out in front of us. It's just the awareness that every game matters. Every game matters. That's where this week you go from an emotional rivalry game like we just played. This week is equally important. We need this win. We desperately need this win. This is unfamiliar territory for not only some of the Bears players, but also a lot of Bears fans, right? This team has not been in the postseason since 2020. That's it, 2020. And when you look at the game like against the Packers, that's playoff atmosphere football. That's what that is. That is what in the standard that you need to hold yourself to and how you need to perform in those games. And give credit to Ben Johnson and this whole entire coaching staff. I know I talk a lot about Ben Johnson and Dennis Allen as they are the play callers of the offense and defense, but Al Harris, everybody that's on this staff, right? Eric Bieniemy, who I don't talk enough about as well, with the Bears run game and us having the second best rushing attack in the game of football, right? And having these guys ready. This is a different Chicago Bears team. And I think that alone would have made this season worth it, to have something that you look at that really feels different, that really feels like you have a coaching staff that is competent, that's more than competent, be clear on that, and is building towards something with these players. But on top of that, this team has competed. And it hasn't always been the prettiest. But I tell you what, I don't know about y'all. If y'all are new to Chicago Bears football has never been the prettiest. It's never been that. And I don't even think that suits the makeup of this team or the city of Chicago to have the prettiest, right? When it comes down to, of course, if you can get there and have that refinement and those type of things, you take that every day of the week. But what this Bears team has been through and the turnover that we've had from one year to another and all that type of stuff, that's something that you cannot overlook for this team, right? And look at even Ozzie Trapillo and what he's been doing here lately at the tackle position, right? After, in the start of the preseason, people talking about Ozzie having a chance to win it. He ended up not, and then Theo Benedict took it from Braxton Jones, and now you look at what Ozzie Trapillo's doing. Ozzie Trapillo's back looking like that guy that we had a lot of expectation for coming into it, right? When you look at it for Week 14 against the Packers, Ozzie Trapillo had a 91.1 pass blocking grade and a complete clean sheet in terms of pressure on 40 pass blocking snaps, no pressures allowed. That's the type of thing that you're showing. Ozzie Trapillo is showing that he can be. Kyle Monangai showing the guy that he can be. Luther Burden more so is showing the guy that he can be. Like, look at the number of players that we've had here. Colston Loveland, right? These guys, these young players, these rookies, these dynamic players that have been brought in. I've already talked about how Ryan Poles deserves his credit. But let's also talk about what this coaching staff has done with these players to get them to this point of progressing them over the course of the season, right? I said it about a month and a half ago. Trust your rookies. And since Ben Johnson has been trusting his rookies more, this team has been playing and performing much better, and they've been showing it. You got to trust your guys for them to show growth, and that's really good when it comes down to not only is Ozzie Trapillo and guys passing the eye test, they're also it's being backed up in what you're seeing in the advanced analytics as well, and that's a great thing to see about this Bears team. So let's keep doing it. Let's keep pressing, and we're going to see. But one of the names that also has to play and perform better is, of course, Caleb Williams. Right? There's just no doubt about that. Everybody talks about Caleb day in and day out. We all know that. Now, Caleb Williams talked a little bit about what's needed or what he feels needed from him to help this Bears team get to this through this playoff push and make the postseason. He said this: starting faster, sharpening my focus even more. Right? And it's easy to say the right things, but we have to see the results of it. Right? So far on the season, Caleb Williams has a 57.8% completion percentage, right? That's 5% down from his rookie year. Now, he does have 2,908 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 6 interceptions. He also was run for 321 yards and 3 touchdowns. But the fact of the matter is, regardless of, and this isn't to, I know people are going to use this to completely turn the conversation, but, Caleb Williams' off-target throws have gotten worse, right? And some of the passes that he's making, though, when you look at some of those passes, it's crazy. It's mind-boggling some of the throws that Caleb Williams is able to make, but how he misses some of the gimmies and so oftenly, right? We know that Caleb Williams has a natural talent. His arm is that natural talent. He can make crazy amount of throws. When people were talking about him being generational and stuff like that, the thing that I always said about him is like his arm is definitely, the arm strength is definitely generational. You don't run into many quarterbacks that has that arm strength. What Caleb has to learn how to do, and I think that it's important to learn how to do that when you're playing winning football as well, because the expectations become different when it's winning football, right? When your team is winning football games, is that you have to have the level of polish and refinement there. It can't just be, you can't just get by on arm strength, which Caleb has been able to do with the level of competition in high school and in college. It has to be more than that. He has to clean up that accuracy. Now, we talked about on yesterday's episode quarterbacks that are kind of more athletic quarterbacks and how they have become more accurate as their careers have gone on. And that's good. And that's a good sign that Caleb may be able to do those same things, right? It's only been 4 games this season where Caleb Williams has completed more than 60% of his passes, and he's never had a game where he's completed over 70% of his passes. Keep in mind, that was Ben Johnson's challenge to him, is 70% completion rate. That was always a ridiculous goal there, but it's good that Ben Johnson sets that goal high because it shows the expectations and what he thinks of Caleb Williams' talent, right? But Caleb has to get this, and this game against the Browns could be a perfect get-right game for Caleb Williams to kind of do that. And I know we say this each and every week about the completion percentage and all that type of stuff. You know, somebody said in the comment section the other day, they're like, well, Caleb Williams' completion percentage is only down because of drops. No, it's not. That's not it, and that's not fair to Caleb. In a true evaluation, if you really want him to get better, it's not that, right? To say that it's only because of that, and it's not fair to the players either. Caleb has some missed. Now, yeah, there are drops in there as well. Every quarterback deals with drops, right? But Caleb has to improve. And I for one, love that we are actually in this spot of playing meaningful football into December, because it highlights more and more how much Caleb Williams and his performance matters and can help separate the Bears that much more, right? That quarterback play is super important. And the thing that I always say, while I do think some of the criticism around Caleb is unfair to a degree, the one thing that isn't is the accuracy thing. And the thing that I always say is that you are a starting quarterback in the NFL that already comes with some crazy shit. You are now a starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears, a franchise that has lacked having that franchise quarterback that truly leads us to a Super Bowl. And there, because of that, it is what it is, right? Now, some people will say things like it's Ben Johnson handcuffing the offense and stuff like that. And I think that's something that comes in when it comes down to that, right? But overall, I'll say this. As we continue to open the playbook up, we have a run game now that we more than so trust, and those things are legitimate. We just need to continue to see that improvement. And games like this, being in positions like this, that's what's really helps separate things and how good to great your team can really be. And we'll see what this Bears team does with it. But that's my time for today, guys. I appreciate you guys so much, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Drop your thoughts down below in the comments as well on everything. Should the Bears shut down Kyler Gordon down for the season? And what's the one thing that Caleb Williams must clean up for you to feel confident about what he can do in a playoff run for the Chicago Bears? Make sure you guys like, subscribe to the channel as well. Share the channel as well with other Bears fans. Help us grow. Make sure you guys are following us at Chi Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.